Hey, coffee experts. Those of you running independent coffee shops, you're always looking for ways that you can drop your costs. And we here at the Coffee Experts Club really understand that. And so we've started something called Indie Coffee Coalition. And what it's designed to do is to drop your costs on two of the things that you're probably experiencing the highest sales volume in your store. And that is energy drink and frat mix. Those two line items, we've created our own products and are offering you those products at a reduced cost so that you can cut out the Red Bull of America. You can cut out the main lines of energy drinks that you're doing and serve your own energy drink at a reduced cost on a line item that you're probably already making a lot of sales on anyway. The best way that you can grow sales is by dropping your costs and maintaining a current volume. So check us out at indiecoffee.co and we'll love to tell you more there.
Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club, where we discuss all of the insights, expertise, and drama that goes into making your passion your profession. Our hosts, Aaron, Ben, and Drew, are three coffee experts who have taken their coffee experience and turned it into true expertise. They have consulted with major coffee brands throughout the United States and beyond, providing operations expertise and growth strategy for drive-through openings, multiple locations, and everything in between. So brew yourself a cup and hang out a bit with the Coffee Experts Club.
Woo! Hey, Coffee Experts Club. Good to see you, Ben Clatterbuck. How are you doing today, my fine fellow?
Quite well, sir. And yourself?
Doing well. It's been a good day. Got some exciting new clients coming on board, I think, which is going to be super cool. But I was thinking what would be a good topic for us to talk about today, Ben, because we kind of kicked it over today on the new client that we're bringing on. And it's been a surface of conversation, I know, in several of our level 10 meetings, our weekly meetings that we run with clients every week, can I just shameless plug? If you've never listened to the book Traction by Gino Wickman, grab the audio book, Traction, Gino Wickman. It talks about a weekly level 10 meeting, which is what Collab team rolls out with clients all the time. And then from there, it's the building block that we build the projects out on how we help businesses get better. Man, does such a wonder for your business if you'll just consistently do the same things that are very metric, very accountability driven, and give you tons of visibility and clarity into things in your business that you don't have right now. So do yourself a favor. If you have any questions about it with us, obviously you can always instant message one of us on the socials, IG, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're at. Just send us a quick instant message at the Collab team or at Coffee Experts, and we would love to help you there. But anyway, we were on a call today and we were talking about metrics that go on a scorecard and ways that we can help this new client. And we talked about inventory and inventory control and counts and shrink, your employees taking things from the stand. And Ben, I am just amazed at how few businesses have this in place.
Yep. And you would be amazed by how easily a barista rationalizes grabbing a Red Bull out of the fridge on the way out the door after their shift.
They don't think it's stealing. They don't consider that stealing.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, speaking from barista in 2009, 2010, where you are there all the time, like this is the same thought that I had. I'm here all the time. It's my break. It's, I've been working hard. I'm the only one in the stand right now. So I'm busting my butt. Let me grab a Red Bull real fast, chug it, energy up so I can keep serving customers. Like, it's just like a part of your home until your boss comes in and says, "Did you pay for that?" And you go, "Oh, I need to pay for this? Oh, shoot." Or your boss comes in and you're like, "Quick, I need it."
Which sounds like well, I think that sometimes, depending on the kind of personality that you are, some leaders, you're like, is it that big of a deal? Like that line of reasoning you just used there, that sounds like rational, but then multiply that across 14 people that work at your stand, right? And overlapping of other people watching other people do it. And then taking consideration, people making drink carriers worth of drinks as they walk out your back door for their entire family as they go home. Like, you start multiplying this stuff up and you start realizing, holy shinola, what did you just say? Like, we're dropping our profitability we're eating all our profits literally, and we're not accounting for it. And I have zero visibility. And I think, why isn't my stand more profitable? But it's because we're not really tight on these systems.
Yep. And it's very easy to balloon because everybody looks at it as a small, cheap product. You don't have employees at Targets walking out with TVs all the time. That sets off red flags really easily. But the Red Bull here and there, the extra cup of coffee every now and again it's a small item. So It doesn't trigger that like, oh, stealing theft trigger in the employee and in you. You're like, it's
Yep.
not a big deal. It's one cup of coffee. I'm not gonna cause a huge, hubbub about it. But just like you said, that per one person, per each employee, per each location, you start for every location you open, you're multiplying the amount of cost of goods that you're just spending needlessly on waste and theft.
I think that, I remember Wes, I feel like he used to almost consider it a perk. Yeah, I mean, back in the days, back in the roasters days, back when we did, like, it was almost like people getting free drinks was almost like a perk, like you're working here, have as many free drinks as you want while you work. If you're not working and you want to cruise by because you work here, you get a free drink. Like, I feel like we almost, and I think in Wes's mind, and listen, when you grow from small to big, that's when it really can bite you in the ass, right? Because if you have
Mhm.
one or two shops and it's kind of a family culture, and like you like it and you think, I don't really give my people many perks. How big of a perk is it? How much am I really paying per cup? Yes, I'm charging retail this, but really it costs me this. Isn't this a relatively cheap perk I can give my people? And I understand all the rationale behind it. But the danger is, I don't know that you should be thinking about that based upon your cost of goods as much as your retail value, right? Because
Mhm.
every cup of coffee you give away, you could have been selling. Every can of Red Bull that you allow somebody to consume, you could have been selling. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's not just the cost of what it costs you, it's the cost of what it could have made for you. And then when you start comparing that, and so what I love about our scorecards, especially the companies we do it for, because guys, listen, if you're listening today and you're a coffee shop owner, or you do drive through coffee, or you're thinking about doing drive through coffee, maybe you think, no, no, I already have this system. And if you do already have this system, you're way ahead of the curve, because most
Yep.
of the people, we're under a lot of hoods of a lot of different people doing coffee. Most people don't have this solved, right? So one or two stores, maybe it's not that big of a deal. I would venture to say, I think it is actually that big of a deal. But then you multiply it like with Wes, you go up from one or two stores to 15 stores. Well, we have a pretty big problem now, right?
Mhm.
Because now we have 200 employees, all with a similar mindset. We're losing tens of thousands of dollars every month out the back door because we're not cinching down on this as a problem.
Yep. Yeah, a good case in point is one of our clients, their baristas as a perk for being a barista for them, they get half off of everything while they're working.
Yep.
And we track that. So the barista still has to pay 50%, and we track that. And consistently, their baristas are spending $300 to $400 in their own drinks at the coffee shop every week. So
Yep.
that's about $600 to $800 worth of sales every week by just their baristas.
Yep.
If you don't have inventory in place, that's $600 to $800 that is just gone.
Yep.
That's they're just walking out the door with because
Yep.
they work there and they think, drinks should be for me and yada, yada, yada. That could be about, close to 3 grand a month in theft that's happening if you're not paying attention, because your baristas want to drink the drinks. Your
Yep.
baristas want to get it for the family. So if you don't have an inventory system that's allowing you to track that, then they're just walking out the door that this isn't just like $10 here, $15 there. Like, we're talking the thousands per location. So it's very important to have that inventory system in place.
And as somebody that does a lot of finance for a lot of coffee shops, like I feel like we're looking at P&Ls all the time. We're looking at daily sales all the time. We're like having to pay bills for clients all the time. Those are all services Collab team offers, with Coffee Experts Club. We have finance ladies that do all these payroll, do all these different things. I can tell you this right now. The difference of a few $1,000s for a lot of coffee shops is a
Mhm.
pretty big deal. Like, imagine if you were just to be able to add a few $1,000s, 2, 3,000 bucks to your bottom line every single month for a year. We're talking about, if it's 3K, we're talking about like $36,000 a year you could be adding to each one of your locations that you did that. That's a big number for a lot of people. Like, that's, you could create your own energy drink for $36,000. You know what I mean? Where you could then cut Red Bull out completely and then drop your cost from a buck 50 something a can down to 15 cents. Think about it that way. The investments you could make with that money realized, you could go a long way. So I know it's easy to I think people just kind of brush it off. It's just not that big. We have bigger problems like scheduling problems, hiring,
Yep.
firing problems, like POS problems, like traffic problems. Like, we have all these problems, quote unquote, which I would just say is probably part of just daily business. And we just need to get good systems in place to mitigate the pain, right? Which I would say a weekly level 10 with your leadership team and how you're dealing with it is a big deal. If you're not doing one of those, I think that's the first thing I put in place, because you'd be surprised how much you can solve just by putting everybody's attention on the same thing and solving it together. But outside of that, there's so much money that can be realized by just a few tweaks that immediately you don't have to change your traffic count.
Yep.
You don't have to pay more in marketing. You don't have to hire more people. Like all you have to do is handle your shrink, handle how much people are walking out with that are people that you love, that love you, who don't have the right understanding of how to look at products.
Yeah, it really just requires some intentionality, and you can get it doesn't have to be a complex system. There are entire platforms out there built on inventory. You can get auto ordering platforms that will, based off of your inventory, do ordering for you. It doesn't have to be complex. Just get a free Google sheet, and at the beginning of every shift, you tell your baristas, all right, I want you to count how many cups you started the shift with. At the end of the shift, I want you to count how many cups are left. And
Yep.
then we're going to count how many drinks you sold during that shift. And
Yep.
those numbers need to line up. And just that alone, and you telling your baristas that we're going to count everything right now, you will see you will see that shrinkage go way down. Just the intentionality of like, hey guys, we're paying attention to this now. It's important to pay attention to. And then you'll get all those baristas who have rationalized that theft to go, oh, wait a minute. Are they saying I'm stealing? Oh, I don't want
Right.
to be stealing from this company. So they'll
Yep.
stop. Or the people who are intentionally stealing because they're like, screw it, I'm just going to take a Red Bull, screw the boss. Now they're being watched. They know they can't do that as well anymore. So just some very simple rudimentary tools. We have breakfast burritos at our location that we serve customers. The opener comes in, we had 35 breakfast burritos when we opened. The closer comes in, we have 5 breakfast burritos left. The POS says that I sold 10 breakfast burritos. So there are 20 breakfast burritos that are just missing. Okay,
Right.
that's theft or it's waste, right? It's theft or
Right.
it's waste. Either which way, it's a problem. And you go, hey guys, we have a problem here. We need to start fixing this. And we're going to watch it every day until it is fixed. And lo and behold, you're not throwing 20 breakfast burritos out the window anymore.
Hey, Ben, isn't it Swig that has an actual button on their computer, on their POS system? They can designate waste. Cause I thought that was brilliant when we were
Yeah.
talking, where they're
Yeah.
able to, anything that was wasted also gets recorded. So that way it really pares down your slippage, right? Cause I think that like, okay, let's assume the best about people. Let's assume people aren't stealing. Well, but are they wasting? Maybe can we talk about that just for a minute and how Swig's doing that? Cause I thought Jarek did that so well, Swig up in Tri-Cities.
Yeah, yeah, it's drinks. I believe he specifically started it with their introduction of DoorDash and Uber Eats,
Yep.
because you get those drinks that are just wrong or something, whatever. Instead of just, that being thrown away and not recording it, and they have to make that drink again for that order, they mark it as waste. And then from there, it just sort of evolved into, okay, we just lost 4 drinks on the bar. Let's mark those as waste, re-ring it up for the customer. Again, it goes back to just getting the baristas to pay a little more attention. I mean, I remember even back in my barista days, pull a gallon of milk out to start making drinks, drop the gallon on the floor. You just kind of like,
Right.
well, it's like that's just the way it goes. That's par for the course. But when you start paying attention to your inventory and you start telling your baristas that paying attention to this is important because it affects our bottom line, then maybe I'm a little more careful with pulling a gallon of milk out of the fridge, or maybe I'm a little more careful that I don't drop an entire box of straws all over the ground. Your baristas will obviously, what's important to you will be important to them. So if your product waste isn't important to you, why would it be important to them? They're focused on getting drinks out the door as fast as possible. You've put that into them. You've hopefully at this point made important to them how fast or how important speed is, how important drink quality is. If they don't have that same sense of urgency when it comes to not wasting product, then gallon of milk goes on the floor. Who cares? Shove it to the side and keep rolling. You have to make that important to them as important as it is to you.
Hey, experts, we've got something really awesome that we do here at Coffee Experts Club, and that's called the My First Drive-Through Coffee Masterclass. So if you're opening your next coffee shop, I think a lot of times you may think to yourself, I know what goes into opening a coffee shop. I've been doing this for years, but maybe you've been doing it for somebody else. And maybe this is your first option of starting a coffee shop on your own. Or maybe you don't know anything about coffee and you're just like, I'm looking for a good investment opportunity. Starting a coffee shop seems like a good place to put it, and you're going to enter into it. But what you don't know is all the things that you don't know, right? And so what we've done with this masterclass is taken behind the scenes how you find your first location, what you need to be thinking about in finding a location. We give you a gift in the masterclass where it's a step-by-step process of how you're opening your coffee shop, the different checkpoints you need from coming up with your plans and talking with the city and then negotiating a lease. And then how do you build a team and what are the different pieces you need to be thinking about? It's a great masterclass, door to door, start to finish, completely free on opening up your next coffee drive-through. So check it out. It's at myfirstdrivethrough.coffee. And it's a great masterclass. You won't regret it. We'll see you on the inside there. You said a couple of good things in there. I think that's really, really smart. And that is, I think a lot of this comes back to education because I think a lot of people just don't understand, right? We're hiring mostly kids, right? So 18,
Mhm.
19, 20, 21, that's not the population group that's usually super concerned about these things because a lot of them are still living with mom and dad. A lot of them haven't even come to understand this for themselves yet. A lot of them aren't even buying their own groceries yet. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yep.
waste can be something that's very, very easily overlooked as, hey, we're just busy. Yeah, I dropped that jug of milk. Aren't you happy with me that I at least kept our car times down underneath 2 minutes? And it's like they rationalize it away. And so some of that comes back to we need to educate our people. Lindsay at Outsider, which shout out to Outsider Nation on Instagram and just the great things that Outsider as a franchise is doing. It's a homegrown independent coffee shop that we helped start at Coffee Experts that's gone on and has opened coffee shops on the West Coast, on the East Coast, is doing a grand opening we're helping them with up north here in Oregon just this weekend. Tomorrow, Drew and David will be there as helping with as the grand opening team. We do grand opening support. Anyway, she does this thing once a week that she's calling Outsider U, Outsider, and which reminded me, Van, of back in the Roasters U days that we used to talk
Mhm.
about and do different things around. But she'll drop in like a quick video that she'll drop in their group WhatsApp channel and then a quiz. Like every week, she's dropping in some sort of intentional knowledge base, bringing everybody out of the same page, and then
Love
a quick quiz that she drops in to know that people are watching it. And then she'll comment back on people's answers. You know what I mean? And I know you may think, Aaron, I don't have time for that. But really, the thing I love about Lindsay, if you know Lindsay, is sister's doing it in her car. Like she's not like in some professional studio, like she's doing it in her car, spends like maybe 3 to 5 minutes doing this video. You have 3 to 5 minutes. And so you're
Mhm.
like, Aaron, I just don't know with intentionality what I do. So spend a half hour one week and determine what you're going to speak on this month. What are the next 4 things you're going to talk about? And then make sure they're intentional. Come on for 3 to 5 minutes and do it. And then ask somebody on your team to build out a quiz around it. Ask somebody that's on the outside, push over to us. We'll build you a quiz. Let's
Mhm.
do something easy. And then keep your people on the forefront because I promise you, just like Ben said, your people probably, for the most part, that's believed the best about them, don't understand it's stealing. And let's say not stealing, don't understand that we could have such better stuff here if we would just invest the money that we're wasting or that we're taking from here. Because I
Mhm.
think that they're probably feeling the stress. We should have more staff. We should have more support. We should whatever. We should have nicer machines. We should have this. We should have that. All those things cost money. Well, the way that we actually have money to do those things is by saving money so that we can deploy it in a way that benefits everybody.
Mhm. And you would be surprised the clients that we've worked with by just putting that intentionality of it, the 4 to 5% that you lose in your COGS,
Yeah.
immediate, just it's one of the few things where if you don't have inventory controls in place now, how you can overnight make money. Like
Yeah.
literally, like you put a couple controls in place, the next day you
Yeah.
are going to be saving cash. And then
Yeah.
you'll see that the next week and you'll see it through the month. Like you can, if you're feeling like your COGS are too high right now and you don't have an inventory management in place, I can 100% guarantee you if you put an inventory, anything in place, you will save 3 to 5%
Yep.
immediately.
Yep.
It's really that it's not like a maybe you will, maybe you won't, is you will save 3 to 5% if you just put inventory controls in place because that's just the nature of our business. It's nature of coffee, it's the nature of food service. There will always be waste and theft because the item is small, the retail price point is small, it's easy to drop. But by putting that in place and putting intentionality on it and telling your people that you're watching it, the next day it will immediately change. And then you can just save there's not a lot of ways that you can overnight make money.
Man, right? Because usually the only other ways that you can make money is, right, you can start marketing more, right? You can do more to get your name out there, which I think is a lot of the place visionaries start with is I just need to start marketing more. I just need to start advertising more. I need to start getting the name out there more. Maybe do more community events. I know that there are some of our clients that do a great job at like getting out in the community, doing things with schools, partnering up with groups, right? Those are things, but that takes a lot more time, right? Marketing takes a lot more money then just, hey, can we just have like an honest, and maybe as you're listening today, maybe you feel like you're bristling against some of these things we're talking about. That's if you've lasted this long, right? Maybe you're like, these guys don't know, they don't know my brand. This doesn't work. Can we just have just an honest, like take a breath and just honestly ask yourself for a minute, could this possibly make sense? How many people do you think maybe on your team are walking out with a drink or two, a sandwich or two, like every single day? Like
Mhm.
if you don't know the answer to that, like a clear answer, then I would say just start with that first, right? And let's not make this bigger than it has to be. There's nothing easier than cinching down in your shops, right? That's called like a video. I would say number one, start with, yes, we need to make a decision to do this. Number two, put a simple system in place. Just start with counts. We have a tally sheet. If you want to use our tally sheet to do cup counts or to do like meal counts, like we've developed a couple systems for several different coffee shops where it's just simple. It's a sheet based thing. You just have them enter it in at the end of their shift. Very, very simple, right? So yes, I need this. That's step number one. Number two, come up with a very simple system and just start with the biggest burn. Whatever you think could be the biggest vulnerability you have, just counts, just implementing counts, and then create a video and share with your team. That's what you're going to do. Easy, 1, 2, 3 steps, and then just stay consistent with it.
Yep.
Stay consistent with it. Don't let it fall off. And that's why we would advocate for a weekly meeting where you drop those metrics into a scorecard. If you want a scorecard template, we do them all the time for people. Like lay it out. Like what is the number that we are chasing and where are we landing on a weekly basis? Because when you start seeing that week over week, you're like, wait a minute, we were 20 burritos off. Like you start seeing that stuff. And wait a minute, we charge $8 for those burritos. Like that's a lot of money that could have ended up in your pocket that we just have no way to account for. So, okay, so now we need to figure out like what's happening here, what's changing here, what do we need to change with policies here, where do we need to reset cameras? I just had to do a video for us for Company This Myas for our shop down in Belize. And just, it was a little bit of a somber message. And I just shot a video and I sent it out to all the kids. And I'm not usually the heavy. Drew usually plays the heavy. I usually get to be, I get to be good dad and he gets to be mad dad when it comes to like conversations that we have. But like, I had to come in with a pretty heavy message just about, hey, you don't understand all of our systems here. I know you think you do. And we see you. So if you're doing things that are dishonest, or if you're doing things that raise a question, it's only a matter of time before you're going to get caught doing that. There are systems, and I could say that with code conscious. I know we have the systems that we're talking about today in place, right?
Yeah.
We're watching tallies, we're watching counts, we're holding those against sales. We're watching how things work, right? So be smart, because I don't want to fire you, but we have a zero tolerance for theft policy here. So if you get caught stealing anything, you're done, you're gone. And I don't want that. You don't want that for you. So just please, I'm asking you, if you've been doing shady stuff, stop. If you've been doing things that appear shady, stop. Like this is the new policy, So I think that we're creating just one simple video where you just lay it out nice and clean and clear, and then just hold that as the accountability. It's the key.
Yep. I think the last example I have is when it comes to food. We had a client who noticed that it seemed like there was some food going missing, and their cogs were up on their food. And they started counting the food themselves and noticed that they're about -5% on their variance on what they should be. They counted this much, but in the POS, there was only this much that came in. That was about 5% off. They counted that a week. Then they implemented the same thing and had their baristas then begin counting it themselves and filling out that sheet the next week. The next week after that, the variance was down to 0.3% difference. So just a matter of like, I'm counting this, that's wrong. Okay, you're going to count this now, and you're going to tell me if it's wrong or it's right. It's magic how it can just go from 5 down to 0.3 by telling your baristas, hey, I want you to count these things and tell me if there's anything missing. Because the minute they have to tell you that something's missing, it's amazing how that just stops immediately.
It's incredible to me. And Ben, this should be the title of today's pod. And that is your profit walking out your back door? And I just think, man, be aware of it, because it is incredible how much you can grow your business just by paying a little bit more attention, just in small ways. So Coffee Experts, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Ben, always an honor, brother. Appreciate you, man.
We will see you all next time.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you who are looking to become a coffee expert yourself, we offer an incredible, thorough training online for opening your first coffee drive-thru at www.myfirstdrivethru.coffee.